What's up, guys? It's your boy, Barca Boy 103. Today we're going to be reacting to the Barcelona news over the past week or so, where we do have some big topics to discuss. Firstly, the option of Mo Salah on a free transfer is becoming a likely avenue for Barcelona following their interest in Neymar Jr. recently on a free transfer. They now say that Mo Salah also on a free transfer is a viable option. We will of course discuss that alongside Flick's two main targets this summer in Luis Díaz and Alexander Isak. The club of course really like both these two players and are very keen on signing at least one of them this summer. Of course, alongside signings, do have of course the core group of the Barcelona players that the club do want to keep, and right now advanced negotiations are taking place for the renewal of Frenkie de Jong that has been more positive than ever over the past few months. And in terms of signings as well, we are targeting heavily the Rayo Vallecano right back Andrei Rațiu. We will discuss that as well. Also, a bit other big renewal updates like Inigo and Lua, and also some big news in regards to that postponed match against Osasuna. And Osasuna wanted us to play this game during the international break, but Barcelona fighting hard against it. But before we get into it, make sure you guys smash that like button down below, and let's try and get to 200 likes on this video. It would be very much appreciated. Also, if you are new, make sure you subscribe down below if you haven't already, and let's get into it. Now, before we get into this video is sponsored by Number One Foot. Number One Foot is by far the best replica jersey website on the market, and it's not even close. They have a variety of different items at the absolute best prices. They sent me two kits recently. First one is the retro Barcelona kit, the home kit, which I'm currently wearing right now, and also as well the second kit for that season in the blue edition. Oh my god, like the stitching is fantastic, the quality is, superb. Feels like I have the actual, original kit for a fraction of the price. And if you use the discount code BOY at checkout, you do get 10% off your order. That's BOY. Use it at checkout, and all orders above $80 as well will receive free shipping. So what are you waiting for? Hit the top link in the description down below and get your new football kits today. Let's start off with the transfer news over the past week or so. The first player that we have been linked with is Mohamed Salah. This is coming in from David Bernabeu of Sports, one of the better journalists in sport, but still not a crazy good source, but a topic that I wanted to bring up, and that's why we're discussing it in this video. He's come out saying that Mo Salah has offered himself to Barcelona as a free agent this summer, and that Salah is the ideal choice for Barcelona because of his experience and attacking qualities, and if Salah agrees to a fairly low wage, he will become a real option for Barcelona. Of course, Salah will be a free agent this summer. The reason why he's not staying at Liverpool is that he's not getting his rightfully so paydays. So the fact that he's going to take a huge pay cut to come to Barcelona doesn't really make sense because he's already a Liverpool legend. He loves the city. Just take that pay cut and stay in your city. Anyways, in terms of Mo Salah being an option for Barcelona, I honestly don't mind it. Again, he is a right winger, which is the issue. We're looking for more so of a left winger because I don't think we want to move Lamine to the left or anything like that to, of course, compensate Mo Salah. But the reason why I think he could be a genuine option is because I think he can also play down the middle. We already know, of course, that Deco is looking for a forward that can play off the left and in the middle. Salah can play off the right and in the middle. Being a free agent as well does, of course, boost his chances. Would I take Salah as a profile of the player? Yes. In the sense of the team, I would say no, because again, I don't see where he fits. So you don't want to have him hindering the development and the game time of Lamine Yamal. He of course cannot. I mean, I guess he can play on the left, but he hasn't played on the left in years since his time, I think, at like Fiorentina and Roma. So if you do sign Salah, that means you have to put Lamine on the left, which we have not seen too much. Of course, I mean, his debut with Barcelona off the left, and once we saw Dembele, he moved to the right, which is of course his natural position. So this signing does raise a bit of a question mark in terms of team harmony and team chemistry. Of course, it means that one of Lamine or Rafa would go on the bench. Maybe Mo Salah goes on the bench at first. So I think it's complicated in terms of where he fits, but I think the player profile, him being free, you want to maybe wait another year to get your left winger on big money. I wouldn't mind it. I think it's very much on the same scale as the Neymar signing. Of course, Neymar fits Barcelona better. He's a former Barcelona player as well, so I think that mold is a bit better. But Salah's coming in off a Ballon d'Or level season, one of the best players in the world, fittest players in the world, not like Neymar, who were basically off vibes pretty much. Oh, it used to be so good. Of course, prime Neymar absolutely clears and destroys prime Salah, but right now Salah is in his prime, whereas Neymar is way past it. So I think the reason why this is becoming Not a serious option, but one to maybe ponder upon is, since that we are considering Neymar, we should be considering Mo Salah as well. So wait and see, but let me know your thoughts down in the comments below on it, whether he fits in the team or not. And if you do sign Mo Salah, if he is going to become a starter, would you play him down the middle maybe? Maybe have a front three of Lamine, Rafa, and Mo Salah? Would you have him, of course, on the wings as well? I think where he fits really comes down to the, this is a deciding factor in my opinion. Maybe Flick really fits him as a striker, bench Lua completely. That could be an option if Flick wants that. I would definitely back it. So we'll wait and see. Keep your eyes on it, with him being, of course, a free transfer, and Barcelona are looking to reinforce their front line. He could be a genuine contender for that. Now, on the topic of reinforcing our front line, Reliva have also come out saying that the following players have offered themselves to Barcelona through their agents, and those players are Alexander Isak, Bruno Guimaraes, Andrei Rațiu, Marc Pubil, and Luis Díaz. Now, on Isak and Diaz, they're looking like the top two targets that Barcelona do have in that front line. Of course, if they do want to spend money, we are hearing that Isak is going to be most likely pushing for a move out of Newcastle, but Newcastle going to remain adamant they want to keep him, and only a big price will change their mind, which I don't think Barcelona will want to really get into. I think, again, the Luis Díaz option is growing a lot. No talks over a renewal with Liverpool. I think he has 1 year left in this deal. Of course, they're currently all focused on Van Dijk, Trent, and Salah, who all their contracts expire this summer. So Diaz kind of being left in the dust a little bit. Fits the mold at an okay age, not great and not ideal, but at an okay age for, I think, a price of around 50 million euros. And again, can fit that mold as well that Deco really likes. And of course, the dream would be Isak. I think he is probably the prime example of what we need after, of course, a Haaland, but he's, of course, had a 20-year deal with the club. So we'll wait and see. In regards to other names on this list, we'll talk about Ratiu in a few seconds. Marc Pubil is just absolutely dead, and Bruno Guimaraes, a midfield that we just don't need. Our midfield is absolutely stocked beyond belief. Fermin, Pablo Torre, Dani Olmo, Pedri, Gabi, De Jong, Casado. You have Mark Bernal still coming back from injury as well. There's absolutely no need to sign Bruno Guimaraes unless maybe like a Frenkie de Jong potentially leaves and does not renew his contract. But of course, we have some good news about that later on the video. So wait and see in regards to these players. But again, them offering themselves to Barcelona does not mean there's interest, does not mean there's anything going to be happening whatsoever. Of course, it is a positive. That means that the players are showing interest in making a move to Barcelona this summer. But there's still, of course, a lot of complications to go through. Now, a player's name that is increasing a lot in momentum around the Barcelona media is the Rayo Vallecano right back Andrei Rațiu. This is coming in from Mundo Deportivo, and they've come out saying that Barcelona is interested in signing the right back Andrei Rațiu. He's amongst Deco's favorite options as the new right back. So you have, of course, on this list Andrei Rațiu, Van der Sar of Monaco, and probably Marc Pubil of Almeria. Those are probably the three names I would say right now on the table. Again, nothing that's gonna get you off your feet excited for, which of course was I was looking for initially when these reports came out that we are looking for a right back. I think honestly out of the three, I do fancy Van der Sar a lot, just mainly because of his experience and mainly because of his ability to play both on the right hand side and the left hand side. But the name of Ratiu has been growing a lot over the past month. Put a decent performance against Barcelona in that 1-0 loss at the Montjuic a few weeks ago, to be fair to him. It looks like a decent option, not something that I think will be an absolute world beat, but definitely someone to provide some coverage and competition for Jules Koundé coming off the bench in big games, playing some of those deadbeat games as well. We expect Barcelona to cruise into. Of course, maybe I can give the option of playing Koundé inside the center in a center back partnership if we have some injury issues as well. So don't mind the player as long as we don't overspend. Again, I wouldn't pay more than 20-25 million for him. If he's pushing 30 million, I would absolutely say, because at that point I'd rather get Van der Sar from Monaco. So wait and see how things do develop. But right now, the name of Andrei Rațiu is gaining a lot of momentum in terms of right back signings for Barcelona. Now, another player that Barcelona are tracking in the market is one for the B team, a future, potential star, and that is Néiser Villarreal. This is coming in from Joaquin Pereira, who of course is the #1 source in regards to Brazilian and South American markets around Barcelona, and he's come out saying that Barcelona are weighing up a potential move for 19-year-old Colombian striker Villarreal. He has been offered to the club, and they are currently assessing the proposal. His contract runs out in December. In the recent held Copa America Under-20 tournament, he emerged as a top scorer with 8 goals and 4 assists in 9 games. That is 12 goal contributions in 9 games, with mainly, of course, being goals, which is quite sexy numbers, I'm not gonna lie. Again, I've seen some clips and compilations of him on Twitter and on YouTube since the reports that have come out. Looks decent. Again, will be a cheeky signing for the B team, and again, it really comes down to how he explodes, how he adapts. Of course, if we've signed some top talents that have done so well and have done so poorly, you never really know. As long as the deal is, favorable conditions, not too expensive, because of course, first team reinforcement is the priority. I guess there's really nothing you can really impact on that. So we'll see how these do turn out. But again, we are tracking a striker. Again, this looks like maybe Marc Guiu, maybe Victor Roque kind of replacement. I don't think he's going to be coming into the first team whatsoever. But again, a striker to watch out for the future if he of course ends up signing a deal with Barcelona. Let's now discuss the players that have been rumored to be leaving Barcelona over the past week. The main one and the only one is Inaki Pena. Mateo Morito of Relevo has come out saying that Inaki Pena's contract of course expires in 2026 and the contract renewal is on standby. The player wants to play. Galatasaray already made contact. Other clubs from Spain and England are also monitoring the situation. Again, he's been of course dropped and since then never looked back. Now at Barcelona, he looked unbelievable in goal, no worries. Szczęsny Fumador on absolute prime time, and Inaki Pena has just never gotten his way back in the team and probably won't get back his way into the team unless Szczęsny does get injured. Of course, Ter Stegen is expected to be back in about a month or so, so Inaki Pena is going to be third choice goalkeeper by the time the season does. And look, he's had 2 runnings at the number 1 for the position for Barcelona in between the sticks. He failed both times. I think he failed firstly under Xavi miserably. Second season under Flick wasn't as bad, but still pretty bad in my opinion. You can look at the match analysis videos from his time in goal, and he's the problem more than 60% of the time, in my opinion. Yes, did well in the Clasico with the Bernabeu, 1 or 2 other games I think off the top of my head. Apart from that, it's been quite mid-poor, where Szczęsny has played well in every single game non-stop. So it's quite clear that he's not cut out to be the starting goalkeeper for Barcelona. Now just all come down to the final decision from the club and also from the player as well. Let's now discuss some contract renewal updates around the first team at Barcelona. Speaking of the Fumador, we do have an update on his future. Fabrizio Romano has come out saying that Barcelona are open to discussing a new deal with Wojciech Szczęsny in the upcoming weeks and months, but right now there is no urgency. The club and the coaching staff remain very happy with his impact on and off the pitch, but in the end, the final personal decision will come down to Tech himself. So in the end, the club are going to offer him a deal. It's up to him whether he wants to stay another year. Also, kind of say I reported the idea for Barcelona is to have Szczęsny and Ter Stegen to be the goalkeepers for next season. Again, with his great performance this season, that comes as no surprise. I expect him to be the cup goalkeeper, with Ter Stegen being the league goalkeeper, maybe Champions League as well. We'll see what Flick decides. Back in the day, it used to be cups. Ter Stegen used to remember back when we had Ter Stegen and Bravo. Ter Stegen would play Champions League, Copa del Rey, Super Cup, and Bravo would only play La Liga. But then when Stilson came in, Ter Stegen would play Champions League, La Liga, and he'd only play Copa del Rey and the Super Cup. So it really comes down to what Flick decides, really. But I think the role will definitely be shared. And to be honest, 1 more year of it, don't mind it. As long as Ter Stegen stays, I would love for Szczęsny to stay. Once Ter Stegen kind of moves on, I think that's when we can really revamp the goalkeeper department, look to bring in somebody new, whether it be Diego Costa, or we'll see if Dibu is still around or not. But I think we can probably survive with Szczęsny now, especially if we've seen how good he is this season. Because if Ter Stegen is playing poor in the league, in the Champions League, we could definitely call for his head and push Tech to go back and start in between the sticks. But I think him staying really comes down to him himself. He might, we might win the quadruple. Like, let me just leave on a high. Everyone loves me. Now it's a perfect time to bounce. That could also be a mindset as well. I think it really comes down to the end of the season. I don't think we'll get any news before the season ends. So we'll wait and see what happens with Tech. But in the end, it will come down to a personal decision with himself. The next contract renewal update is on the contract renewal of Frenkie de Jong. And again, ever since the new year, just more and more positive news about Frenkie renewal. Of course, a few weeks ago, I believe, before the Atalanta game, the last Champions League group stage game, his agent Ali Dursun was in Barcelona. He did meet with Deco briefly. Since then, all the reports about Frenkie de Jong's future have been positive. The latest one coming in from Santi Ovila saying that de Jong has told his agent that he wants to renew his contract with Barcelona now. His camp believes this is the best version of Frenkie. Of course, his form in 2025 has been fantastic, and this is the Frenkie that we all know and we all seen before in the past. When I got slated at the beginning of the season saying that Frenkie in a better double pivot would work, everyone was killing me. Looks like I was right yet again. Now, we do have the structure in terms of what the renewal offer was for Barcelona. This is coming in from David Bernabeu, so take me with a pinch of salt, but I think it's a good idea of what I do expect Barcelona to offer. So again, we know over the past 2 weeks that Barcelona have kind of, taken that first initiative again and made a renewal offer for Frenkie. The offer is a 3-year extension, so until 2029, the same salary that he's currently on, which is about 18 to 19 million a year, which is around about 350,000 euros per week. But the fixed amount will be lowered and the rest will be based on variables like appearances, titles, and so on. So the maximum he could earn is 350,000 euros per week. What the base will be, I'm guessing around 200 for a player of his quality, of his level of his stature, where he's how he's done at the club now over the past 6-7 years. He's a captain. He of course came in his absolute prime. He suffered through absolute freaking hell, new president, COVID, Messi leaving, absolute turmoil. He survived all that. We have to give him credit for that, of course. I have no problem with this whatsoever. I think that's honestly fair. I think for me, if I'm giving Frenkie a salary, starting player, important player for Barcelona, I'm looking at 150 to 200k. If you want to, base that on his current salary to keep him, which of course is quite high due to the deferred salary during the pandemic and COVID. And you want to base that a lot on fixed salary, I have no issue. So again, if he's getting paid that full 350k per week, it's because we're doing so well. It'd be, him playing, game time, accomplishments, trophies, achievements, all that sort of stuff. I have no real problem with it. I think it's honestly a fair contract renewal. The question really comes in is if Frenkie rejects it. Of course, he can sit down and negotiate, which I don't mind, but if he sits and blatantly rejects it, that's where the question mark comes in. But for now, Frenkie de Jong has now communicated to the club, according to multiple reports, that his desire is to continue as well, and looks like negotiations will set to be developing over the next few weeks. And the final contract renewal update is on the contract renewal of Inigo Martinez and Robert Lewandowski. Following the sale of Victor Roque to Palmeiras, of course, Barcelona have freed up a lot of room in terms of FFP, and since then, the renewal of Inigo Martinez was made official yesterday. The club confirmed he has put pen and paper on a new deal until 2026, so only of course a year extension. And this came after, according to Fernando Polo, La Liga confirmed that Inigo can officially be registered under his new contract next season. And not only that, but Barcelona has now successfully registered all the players' new contracts with La Liga for the full duration, avoiding potential disregistration issues that could plague the team in previous seasons. Remember how we unregistered and registered, Ter Stegen and Gavi and Araujo over the past few years. Of course, we did it with Christensen this season as well. Pau Victor, of course, had issues in January, like we all know. From now on, no issue like that will arise. The club have now locked down every single contract for the duration of its contract for the club. So once a new contract comes in, that's where the debate will come in. The only one that's really next in line for a contract immediately is Robert Lewandowski. Again, similar to Inigo Martinez, his agreement is fully agreed, and according to Sport, after the international break, the club will announce his renewal until 2026. Again, him and Inigo agreed to a new deal back in January when Deco was moving mad, getting Araujo, Gavi, Pedri, Gerard Martin, everybody done. He did the same thing with Lua, and Inigo is now official, now waiting for the official confirmation of Robert Lewandowski, which according to reports will be coming in after the international break. But thankfully now, no more registration, no more contract issues for Barcelona, following of course the good sale of Victor Roque for 25 million euros to Palmeiras. Now, the final topic that I want to discuss for an end off this video is in regards to the match against Osasuna that of course was postponed due to the death of Carlos Muniero Garcia, the assistant doctor of the first team. The question now is, where is this game gonna fit in? Of course, our schedule is absolutely packed from now to the end of the season. We only have one opening, which is in May. Again, there is some issues on the side of Osasuna because they don't want to delay the game. Fernando Polo came out saying that Barcelona are not convinced on playing Osasuna on March 27th, which of course is during the international break that La Liga and the Federation have proposed, as Rafinha and Araujo will not be with Barcelona due to international break. Barcelona prefers to play on May 21st, just before La Liga's final round, but Osasuna opposes playing between those last two matches due to potentially high stakes with undefined schedules. Timeout. Osasuna sit mid-table and are not fighting for jack shit right now. They're not in a European race. They're not in a relegation race. They're just bang average in the middle, fighting for higher positions to, of course, earn more money from TV rights. That's all they're fighting for. There's no actual accomplishment. So that for me, that conversation is absolutely null and void. Alternate days depend on Barcelona's progress. Of course, if they miss out on the Champions League semi-final, we can of course slot those games in there. And if they're eliminated by the Copa del Rey by Atletico Madrid, they of course can play the day before the Copa del Rey final, no problem. So again, that part, don't mind that. If we get knocked out in the quarterfinal, semi-final of the Champions League, or by Atletico, we can play those games in April, no issues. The reports are suggesting right now that what will happen is that our first game back against after the international break against Girona will be of course on March 30th. They're apparently going to move that game to the Monday on the 31st, and then force Barcelona to play on Friday against Osasuna, which is of course just at the end of the international break, which is March 28th. By then, Rafinha and Araujo should be back from South America. So they want to play on Friday, have the weekend off, play on Monday, and of course midweek we have Copa del Rey against Atletico, and then on the weekend we have Betis. They want us to play 4 games in a week. Let me repeat that one more time. 4 games in 1 week. Well, technically it's 8 days, but there's gonna be fucking no rest whatsoever. Of course, out of those 4 games, 3 of them will be at home, which is nice. But then again, you have that big travel in Madrid, right smack in the middle. That's gonna be a huge problem for Flick in terms of fitness, rotation, keeping the squad nice and fresh. Of course, we have huge game the next week after that against Dortmund coming up. Look, Osasuna, appreciate you posting well in the game when it happened, but look, that's just not feasible whatsoever. There is no way this game can be played in March. If they somehow finesse this in March, absolute catastrophe beyond belief. They're trying to force us to play during the international break. Are you mad? Rafa and Araujo probably won't start this game if it's on March 27, March 28, sure. But if it's, later on in May, they could start that game. Also here crying, oh, we're fighting for stuff. You're fighting for nothing. You're mid-table La Liga. You're fighting for absolutely jacked squad. Let me actually pull up the table right now and make sure that they're actually not in the European race. Like, blood, they're 14th. 14th. They're what? 9 points off the drop? Bloody hell. 9 points off the drop. They're 9 points off of Europe. They're just smack in the middle, doing absolutely nothing. Talking about, oh, we don't want to wait until the end of the season because we might have stuff to fight for. You're fighting for nothing. Absolutely nothing. So we'll wait and see. Hopefully Barcelona remain firm on their stance and not at least play after the international break. Again, we get knocked out by Atletico in the Cup. We get knocked out by Dortmund in the Champions League. I have no problem playing in April. I don't think the club will have a problem with that either. It's just about, avoiding us playing before or during the international break, which I think is absolutely blasphemy. So we'll wait and see on that. Very quick update just to end off the video. There is a cheeky little deal coming in from Barcelona. Again, great work here from Joan Laporta, securing a new source of income for Barcelona. And Barcelona has agreed with Sky Tour Barcelona to provide helicopter tours of the Camp Nou. The club will receive, of course, compensation from each ticket sold, with plans to offer VIP packages, so 10 matches and special events from the helicopter. So, of course, when the stadium is all done, looking beautiful and sexy and being the best stadium in the face of the earth, helicopter tour around it, that's going to be very nice. We'll include that, of course, in packages for VIP, for seats, for hotel packages when you come to games as well. That is going to be a very hot I think ticket being sold around Barcelona, in my opinion. Definitely one that I'll be looking into doing when I go to Barcelona, inshallah, in the future. But cheeky little deal there from Joan Laporta. Again, we're getting absolute miracles around the club. So wait and see what happens with this Osasuna game. It's still really a big question mark where to put it in the schedule. I think it will come down to if Barcelona get eliminated from the Champions League or Copa. But of course, we're going for the quadruple, and we go ahead and we win the quadruple. We're winning all the games. We'll look like this game will be happening in May, but Osasuna are pushing it for this game to happen during this upcoming international break. So that was my reaction to the Barcelona news over the past week or so. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, of course, make sure you drop a like down below, and of course in the comments down below as well. Let me know your thoughts on everything we did discuss. Firstly, of course, on Mohamed Salah, would you take him at Barcelona or not? Secondly, on those 2 targets of Isak and Diaz, who'd you go for this summer mainly? Would you pay the price that Newcastle are asking for Diaz? Thirdly, Frenkie Renewal, are you in favor for it or against it? And final thoughts on Andrei Rațiu being one of Barcelona's main targets to reinforce the right back position. And of course, make sure you guys subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I will see you guys next time on the channel. Take care, and Forza Barca.